Let's start with a question. Why do we all yearn deep down for someone to really hear us? Not just nod and wait for their turn, but to actually listen. Psychologists call this the need for validation, and it's as primal as hunger or thirst. When someone listens and truly takes us seriously, we feel seen, like we matter. It's that bridge out of isolation, that moment when the space between me and you dissolves, even briefly. Now, you might be thinking, isn't that a bit dramatic? But think about the last time you felt truly heard. Didn't it feel like a weight lifted off your chest? That's because authentic listening is the emotional equivalent of oxygen. Invisible, essential, and life-affirming. Have you ever shared news only for the other person's eyes to glaze over? Or worse, for them to launch into their own story? This isn't rare, it's an epidemic. We think we're listening, but really, we're rehearsing our next point. The technical term for this is conversational narcissism, and it's rampant. I remember coming home, eager to share a win at work, and after 2 minutes, my partner's focus drifted to their phone. Ouch! That sting? It's the brain's way of telling us we're missing the empathy connection, the neural resonance that bonds people. Without it, even our closest relationships start to feel distant. Let me tell you a story. A psychiatrist friend once left me a message, hoping to set up a meeting. I didn't call back busy, distracted. Life happened. He told me later. Just that unreturned call left him anxious and unsettled. Now, you might say, it's only a phone call, but here's the kicker. Even small lapses in responsiveness can trigger feelings of exclusion. Neuroscience calls this social pain, lighting up the same circuits as physical pain. That's why a seemingly minor snub can hurt so much. We may rationalize, but the absence of attentive listening leaves a mark one we carry into future interactions, often unconsciously. What does real listening look like? It's more than being quiet. Empathic listening is a blend of intuition and conscious effort, a total suspension of our own preoccupations. Imagine tuning a radio to a clear frequency. That's what happens when you enter another's mental world. Ever heard of mirror neurons? They literally fire in our brains when we empathize, helping us grasp not just words, but unspoken feelings. When someone reflects back what we express, it builds a bond what therapists call emotional attunement. Suddenly, we're not just heard, but understood. That's the magic of true human connection. Why does it cut so deep when someone close fails to listen? Picture Roger and Derek, best friends, sharing late-night talks that lit up their college years. But life changes. And suddenly, Derek's listening is only surface level. No questions, no involvement. Roger feels alone, even in conversation. You might ask, can't you just brush it off? But attachment theory tells us we're wired to seek emotional responsiveness from those we love. When that's missing, the loss registers as betrayal, a violation of the safe haven we expected. And often, we retreat, building walls rather than risking more hurt. That's the quiet tragedy of failed listening. Ever been in a meeting where your contributions were bypassed, your voice ignored? Marnie, an executive, had a proposal hijacked by colleagues. She didn't get a word in. She spiraled into self-doubt, questioning her own worth. Here's the paradox. We often believe needing to be heard is a weakness, but psychology shows it's a fundamental human need, like nourishment. The act of bearing witness, simply acknowledging someone's story, can be transformative. It's not about agreeing or solving, but validating. When we do this, we act as what psychoanalyst Heinz Kohut calls a self-object, a mirror for the other's inner experience, strengthening their sense of self. Think back. Have you ever confided pain to someone only to be met with, "Don't worry, it'll be fine"? At first, it sounds comforting, but soon you realize your emotions were swept aside. This is the reassurance trap. Confusing sympathy, a pat on the back, with empathy, walking in your shoes. Cognitive psychology calls it premature solution giving, and it often leaves us feeling more alone. Real listeners resist the urge to fix. They sit with discomfort, asking questions, acknowledging your reality. Remember, advice is often about the listener's need to resolve tension, not the speaker's need to be understood. That's the difference between being heard and being helped. Why don't conversations always flow? Frequently, we fall into monologues, alternating soliloquies rather than true dialogue. I once watched a client describe a cherished childhood memory, only for their therapist to launch into their own story about toy trains. The result? Disconnection. Here's the setup. Someone shares a vulnerable moment, the conflict. The listener redirects the focus. The resolution? Frustration, anger, even withdrawal. Effective dialogue relies on turn-taking and active engagement, what communication theorists call reciprocal exchange. Without this, conversations devolve into contests for airtime, leaving both parties unheard. Want to foster connection? Trade monologues for genuine dialogue. Ask, listen, reflect. Let's explore something profound. When we're listened to, we don't just feel better, we clarify our own thoughts. Neuropsychologists talk about metacognition, the ability to think about our thinking. Often, it's only through dialogue that our tangled emotions and ideas find shape. You might have noticed, telling your story out loud brings unexpected insight. A receptive listener acts as a mirror, helping us see ourselves objectively. The setup: we're confused or conflicted. The conflict: alone we circle the same thoughts. The resolution: a listening ear creates space for self-discovery. So, next time you're unclear, seek a good listener, not for advice, but for reflection. Let me introduce Roxanne. In college, she felt isolated, disconnected from family and friends. Therapy helped her see that her pain wasn't just about circumstances. It was about not feeling truly heard growing up. Her first family session was explosive anger, accusations, tears. The breakthrough came not when someone fixed her pain, but when her mother, for once, simply listened without defending or interrupting. This act of bearing witness broke a cycle of resentment, opening the door to real dialogue. The lesson? Listening isn't passive, it's active, courageous, and often the first step in healing fractured relationships. One empathic moment can alter years of distance. Now, here's a twist. Is the need to be listened to selfish? In a sense, yes. Psychoanalyst Heinz Kohut's narcissistic equilibrium theory suggests that being heard helps us maintain self-esteem, our sense of being valued. We all want to be the star of the show sometimes. Problems arise when this drive overshadows the needs of others, turning conversations into a spotlight contest. But let's be honest, we're all self-absorbed at times, especially when stressed. The key is balance, recognizing our desire for validation, while also stepping aside to listen in turn. Healthy relationships require this give and take, not endless self-broadcast. So, how do we become better listeners? Start with intentionality. Practice active listening. Maintain eye contact. Paraphrase. Ask follow-up questions. Use the reflect and clarify technique. Mirror back what you hear, then seek confirmation. Watch for nonverbal cues. Body language often conveys what words conceal. And here's a challenge. When tempted to interrupt, pause and count to 3. Let silence do its work. Directly ask, "Did I get that right?" Or, "Is there more you want to share?" Over time, these small shifts cultivate trust, transforming even superficial exchanges into moments of real connection. Imagine the impact if we all listened just a little better. Let's wrap up with a challenge and an invitation. Who is the best listener you know? What sets them apart? Maybe they don't rush to judgment. Maybe they ask deeper questions, or simply make you feel safe. What would it take for you to embody those qualities in your own conversations? Our lives are defined in dialogue, but only when we dare to listen as much as we speak. The next time someone approaches you with news, joy, or pain, try this. Be fully present, suspend your agenda, and just listen. You might be surprised at how transformative one attentive conversation can be for both them and you. That's the legacy of a great listener.